Tell me about your best Valentine's Day date ever. And if it doesn't include dad, that's okay.
Oh. I don't know if I can remember any, Kevin.
Dad, this is bad. You've lived a long enough life to at least had a good Valentine's Day.
Okay.
I think we're going to watch somebody make up a story
No.
in front of us.
I'm not making, I didn't know you were going to ask this.
That's kind of the premise of the cold open. I just shoot from the hip. Do you want me to go?
Yeah,
okay.
you go. Yeah, you
Here
go
I
first. And I won't be listening to what you're saying because I'll be thinking
me
about mine.
for taking this bullet for you,
Yeah,
even though
thank
I
you.
came up with the question.
Thank you.
So you know me. I don't like just doing things just to do them. I want them to be somewhat purposeful. I want
Right.
there to be meaning behind it and an element of practicality to it sometimes. I do like to give knives as gifts. I've also given vacuum cleaners as gifts. I've also given pots and pans as gifts to girlfriends.
Beware to all of the women out there. Just beware.
If you're coming to the table with a set of knives and it's not like chef quality and they have the serrated things where you have to literally saw meats,
Right.
that's not going to work for me. We're
Okay.
throwing that away. Besides the point. So one of my many girlfriends, said that one of her favorite Valentine's Day traditions with her mother when she was single is they would stay at home. Her mother would cook her eggs Benedict. They would have a specific type of dessert, which I do not remember currently. I want to say it was like carrot cake. It was this really weird hodgepodge of stuff.
Okay.
And then they would watch some over-the-top, sappy rom-com.
Yeah, but that's sweet.
So I, taking over for her mother as her boyfriend, had eggs Benedict prepared when she came home from work, had... I don't know that it was carrot cake, but it was something weird like carrot cake because I wouldn't have chose carrot cake. But I think
Carrot cake isn't weird.
Here's the thing about carrot cake. I didn't like it until I was forced to eat it, which is why I think it was this thing.
Okay.
Because there's just so much sugar in it. Anything tastes good.
I didn't like it until I was forced to eat it.
Yeah, because it was the dessert that she had with her mom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I was like, well, okay, I'll indulge it. And then I had a really sappy rom-com all queued up. And of course I had flowers and of course I did the card. But it was that is what I remember as being the Valentine's provider, that was a really meaningful thing because I had taken something that was important to she and her mother. And I had carried the tradition on to her and I, even though it was clearly just taking the place of she and her mother.
Right.
And that resonates with me because, listen, anybody can make a dinner reservation. Anybody can buy you a box of chocolates and anybody can get you a card. It's the people that listen to the things that you like and then provide those things to you that you like that I think make the difference on holidays such as Valentine's Day. Was that a good Valentine's Day?
I think that's a very good Valentine's Day. I do think you have, for the women, future women for you,
Sure.
you have sorted out the group.
What does that mean?
Well, when you mentioned the pots and pans and vacuum and all that. So the group has gotten smaller because some have left because of that.
That's okay because I don't want that group.
Okay,
If you can't find the appreciation of me giving you better kitchen items, then I don't want you.
Well, I will say this though too. You only mean if they have great things, you don't buy them.
Of course not. Why would I do that?
Right.
But oftentimes it's not great things, which then is probably an indicator that they don't care about the kitchen that much, which I'm not saying a woman's place is in the kitchen. I'm happily in the kitchen more often than not. But if they don't think that good knives are okay or good pots and pans are okay, then that probably means they don't cook that much, which means I'm going to have to do all of the cooking, which again, I have no issue doing. But if I'm going to do all the cooking, then I need all the proper cutlery and ware for it.
Ladies, take note. He is going to give you pots and pans.
Yeah.
But attached to that is the greater gift. You're going to get meals morning, noon, and night.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's really selfishly for me.
So I remember a Valentine's Day.
Yes.
This was not this was kind of weird because it was coming off kind of a bad Christmas.
Okay.
And so I think that Dad had gone very practical on the Christmas.
Got it.
The whole Christmas. And
a lot of vacuum cleaners and knives and pots and pans.
Yeah. And so, or those things that just, it didn't resonate. And I remember I had said to him that I wanted a really nice gold bracelet because I wanted to start like a gold charm bracelet, right? Mm-hmm. And I had said it a lot. Did it ever show up?
Hint, hint. It did not.
Hint, hint. It did not. So we were taking a trip and we were leaving on Valentine's Day. And we're at the airport. And I'm trying to think, were we going to Mexico? Were we going to Florida? I don't know.
I was not on that trip.
You were not on the trip for sure. But we're in the airport and we're just waiting to get on the plane. And he reaches into his bag and he pulls out this gift that's just wrapped beautifully. And it's wrapped with Christmas wrap. And he says, Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm like, it's wrapped with Christmas wrap. Yeah, just teasing him. And he goes, well, it's kind of to make up for Christmas. And in it, he had given me the most beautiful gold bracelet with one charm on it that he'd bought me. And so I think like that was super sweet because number one, I don't believe that I acted disappointed for a couple of months. That didn't happen.
I was going to say that we're working on, almost 2 months.
That did not happen.
Really sullen Deborah for the better first part of the year.
For sure that did not happen. But I think that he rethought his purchases and thought, okay, here's an opportunity to do something really nice. And
see, that's the difference. It's a meaningful gift.
Yep.
Did you ultimately get what you wanted? Yes, of course. But the failure of not getting what you wanted allowed him to come back and provide you that thing that you wanted because it was top of mind to him.
Top of mind to him. And guess what? Everything was perfect after that. I didn't need, I think, when we got to the hotel, there was champagne and flowers and candy, but you don't even need that after that.
Totally.
After that one grand gesture, if you will, you don't need anything.
I honestly, as I sit here and I think about Valentine's Day on Valentine's Day, and even though I have been single for the majority of my life, so the times that I have spent Valentine's with people should resonate with me. That is, when I gave you what my favorite Valentine's Day thing was, it's also because it's the only thing I remember.
Gosh, I can't remember any either. And I know that Dad did a good job for Valentine's Day. They've kind of mucked and mired together in a good way. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be hard to separate.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
We all know that Valentine's Day is a fictitious holiday that was created by literally the Hallmark company, right?
Well, I don't know if it was Hallmark.
That's a fact.
Oh, is it?
1,000%.
No, are you just saying that, Kev?
No.
We're going out on the airwaves.
That is a fact.
Okay.
And it was a way for them to sell more cards and for them to be able to leverage other things in their portfolio. When women say, I don't care about Valentine's Day, obviously we know you care. At what level on a 1 to 10 do you care about this holiday that is entirely fictitious? It serves no purpose. Like, you should be loving your significant other every day like this. No, you shouldn't be buying them flowers every day. No, you shouldn't be buying them boxes of chocolates every day. But there shouldn't be a singular day out of 365 days that you show them all this love and adoration. Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what are your expectations of a Valentine's Day, assuming that your partner is providing you with that love throughout the year?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I can speak for all women.
Well, I want you to.
I'm going to speak for women my age initially. Okay. So I think we've had all of that. Do you know what I mean? Most women my age have had like some incredible date or dinner at some extravagant restaurant, or even somebody making some incredible dinner for you, with the typical, a piece of jewelry, flowers. Do you know what I mean? Some lovely thing. Okay.
Okay.
So I think as you get older, I'm speaking for myself specifically, I care less and less about the trappings, right? You know what I'm saying? The trappings.
Yep.
And so, if Dad bought me a simple bouquet at the supermarket and brought it in and said, hey, it's Valentine's Day, and gave me a kiss, that'd be great with me. Like, I'd be fine. Actually, if he did nothing and said Happy Valentine's Day, I'd be fine.
So at this point in your life, at this phase in your relationship, simple acknowledgement of a holiday.
Well,
and a small amount of effort.
Very small is required. In
Literally,
fact,
you just asked him to acknowledge it.
Yesterday, right? I came downstairs and there was a bouquet of roses.
Oh, yeah. Dad.
Still in their package.
Sitting on the kitchen counter.
Laying on the kitchen counter. Yeah. And I looked at you and I said something like, are those for you? Or just made some joke.
Who are these for? Not me.
Yeah. And I said, well, I better put them in water in case Dad's girlfriend wants them to be fresh.
True.
Right? That's what I said.
Yep.
So I took them and put them in water. And then Dad came later and I said, hey, you can take that vase with you to give those to your girlfriend, but just make sure she knows to give the vase back after the flowers are dead. And, we both laughed. I mean, it was funny because he did his job. He got him as far as the house.
Well, I'll tell you this, in another chapter of his chemo brain affecting Valentine's Day, he came home this morning, dropped a bag from the grocery store on the island, and then left. And it was just sitting there. And in it was a Valentine's Day card. And of course, we would rummage through it. I mean, that's just what we would do. So I took it upon myself to take the card out so that you wouldn't see it and put it in his desk so that you could see the grapes and you could see the Lysol, but you wouldn't see the Valentine's Day card. So this has really just been a group effort on behalf of Dad for you.
Well, and then right before we started, he opened the door and said, hey, did anybody see a card on the counter? And you said,
it's in the desk.
It's on your desk. Yeah. So there you go.
So for every guy out there, the longer you're in a relationship, the less they care about. So they say.
But I don't think that's all women. I think there are some women that are going to be completely opposed to what I said and really care. I mean, really want a big acknowledgement. And I think that that's a thing. Do you know what I mean? Like they have it in their money or their head. They want a certain amount of money spent, or there's a thing that they expect. And so it's up to those men, I guess, to know what that expectation is. And I do want to say this. I think when you're first dating, when you're young and you're first dating, Valentine's Day. I mean, I just actually hate going out on Valentine's Day because it's so crowded. It's ridiculous. But I think effort has to be put forth initially. And I think the thing that you did with your girlfriend was great. Was she happy with that?
Well, I'm 36, and from here on out, the most any girl could ever expect from me is a set of knives, a pot of pans, or a vacuum cleaner.
A pot of pans.
Let's start the podcast.
Welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. One is a Harvard Business School alum. The other is her son, discussing business, pop culture, family, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, Deb and Kev.
Hey, hi, hello, and welcome to the Deb and Kev podcast. Sitting directly across from me is the human embodiment of 24 roses. Beautiful to look at, but they'll draw blood. It's my mom, Deb.
Oh, I like that. I'm Deb.
And I'm the embodiment of a box of chocolates. In theory, it's cool, but you just kind of wish you had a Snickers instead. I'm her son, Kev, and I don't know what that means, but this is our podcast. On today's show, she's debated up until the last minute what we're going to talk about in Deb's business segment, but I think she's going to take us on a quest like that of Dungeons and Dragons, a quest for the elusive unicorn. And we're back with a new segment of Would You Rather, and we will end the podcast with what we're thankful for and what we're eating tonight. But first, this is Valentine's Day. It is February 14th. We debated whether or not we were going to record this podcast yesterday on the 13th, and you said no. I want to record it on the 14th, and you want to record it on the 14th because Valentine's Day is different for our family, and it's different. Why?
My mother, your grandmother, passed away on Valentine's Day 25 years ago.
I guess 25 years today.
25 years ago. And so initially, Valentine's Day for me was probably the first couple of years. It was like a week or two or days before I would go, oh no, it's coming. Yeah, I mean,
which is, you have said to me before, as if somebody has control of this, the worst thing somebody can do is pass away on a meaningful day.
On a meaningful day, yeah.
And of course, if you've listened to this podcast, you know Barbara is nothing if not egotistical in some of her choices.
A little vindictive, maybe.
So for her to pass away on Valentine's Day, the day of love, the day of compassion, the day of just expressing all of the adoration to everybody in your life, for that to be her death day feels chef's kiss perfect.
It is somehow perfect. And I will say, I was with her in Seattle when she passed away. I was fortunate enough to be with her. And I remember calling Dad and saying, because I was ready to come home. And then she kind of fell into, I'm going to say, a deep sleep or coma. And I said Valentine's, because I was coming home for Valentine's Day. You were younger. And I said, she's going to die on Valentine's Day. I just know it. And Dad was like, okay, stop. You know, I mean, just like, you know, you're being crazy now. And sure enough, you know, that's exactly what happened. I felt sort of terrible about it because it did feel like initially, like a holiday was marked, right? Like this little day of love had an X on it. But then when I think we were at the funeral home and they were filling out the death certificate, and the gal at the funeral home said, oh, she died on Valentine's Day. But she said it very sweetly. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of made me feel like, oh, well, maybe that's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
And then she said, oh, she was born in Loveland, Colorado. I love that. She was born in Loveland, Colorado, and she died on Valentine's Day. And that was the biggest gift anybody could have given me in that moment. And I was like, I'll take it, you know, and that's how it was then.
There wasn't a piece of you that said, trust me, lady, this is more ironic than anything.
More ironic than anything. Now I'm like, it doesn't bother me at all. I've completely embraced it. I'm glad because I remember it. I mean, it doesn't slip past me. It's not March 3rd, right? You know?
Right.
And so it seems...
Do you think it would slip past you if it was just some innocuous date on the calendar?
I have some other people that have passed away that I love a lot. And I know the time of year they died, or I might know the month they died, but often not the exact date. I think, though, I mean, when it's your mom, it's different, right? I mean,
I would imagine.
You're not supposed to remember that for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for her sharing an important date for Americans.
Yeah.
Where you know it's coming every year. You don't get to plead ignorance to it. And so your observation of the day is twofold. There's element of romance, and then there's acknowledging your mother's life. And after a while, especially after 25 years, you can intertwine the two fairly romantically with one another, which is on this day of love and caring and giving, that's what I choose to do with my mother and her spirit.
Yeah, no, perfect. You said it perfectly.
Thank you.
I will say the only other person's date of death that I remember is my friend Deb. And that is firmly ingrained with me. You know, her birthday is this month, but she died in June. And that is, you know, like, I feel like it's on my brain memory calendar, if you will. But no, I don't think I normally imprint that, but I think it just depends. I think it depends on, you know what? I was with both of those people pretty much when they passed away. So I think that's part of it as well, you know? So,
do we have any fun Barbara stories from that time? I feel like we have to have some anecdotal story that we can share. We've told so many Barbara stories that maybe don't paint her in the best light, though she is great because she birthed you.
I remember a Valentine's sweet story.
Go for it.
So I had, in third grade, I had mono. And so
that's the kissing disease, Deborah.
The kissing disease, and I can assure you, I'd never kissed a boy.
Tisk, tisk.
And so I'm home for like 3 weeks. I mean, you're home like in those days, you stayed home for quite a while.
In those days, they branded you a witch, right?
Pretty much. I was home over Valentine's Day. And I remember saying to my mom, take my cards to school, the little cards. And what we did in third grade is we had a large envelope on the front of our desks, and you would go and people would drop their little cards.
I mean, I think that's the same thing that would happen with us. Like it was an expectation that K through 6th, that everybody had to bring Valentines for everybody, which then absolutely ruined the idea of a Valentine's being special.
My teacher, who was the nicest teacher in the world, my third grade teacher, I loved her.
What was her name?
Miss Dahlbottom.
Dahlbottom?
I think it was Dahlbottom, yeah.
The girl got that Dahlbottom.
Yeah, Dahlbottom, yep.
Love it.
She was super cute. She was blonde. I loved her. Anyways, there would have been like a Valentine's party too. Like room mothers would have come in and there would have been treats and games and things like that.
Sure.
So she had everybody in the room write me a letter.
Oh, cute.
So my thing, when my mom took my Valentine, my thing came home really packed, right? So my mom says, oh my gosh, look, you've got all these Valentines. Let's look at them. And you've got all these letters. Let's read them. So when you're in third grade, if you have a crush on a boy, his little perforated Valentine that he punched out. Were
all these handmade?
No, some of them would have been purchased, in a box. But you're looking for him to do more than write Richard on it, right? I mean,
with a heart?
Yeah.
Or could you even get a heart from old Richie?
Love Richard or something like that.
Well, you only got a name.
Or some would tape a little piece of candy on there, something like that.
Maybe he could put on his mom's lipstick and kiss it for you.
Maybe, but I don't think they were doing that then, and that would have been weird. Okay.
Got it. Well, I mean, it would have been a lot for Richie, but it would have been accepted.
So I don't remember who I had a crush on in third grade.
Oh, it wasn't Richard.
But I just made up a name with that.
Got it.
But let me tell you this. I do know there was a boy that I would not have wanted to get a good Valentine from.
His name was Chester.
His name was David.
Oh, no, poor David. I like David.
David wrote me a letter.
Yes.
And it was long.
Yes.
And it said, I love you at the end.
Oh my gosh. I love you, David.
No, I didn't want to go back to school ever. I mean, I had a fit. I cried. My mom is like.
Why? Because David was the smelly kid?
He's the boy that was always in trouble. Always in trouble.
Okay.
I don't know if he was.
I don't know anybody about like that who grew up always being in trouble.
No, he annoyed teachers and he annoyed students.
Yeah, who would ever go to school and annoy both teachers and students? Not me, that's for sure.
He was always in trouble. He got in trouble on the playground. He got in trouble in the class.
Are you sure David's not my father?
That's good, Kev. Oh, I don't think he was smelly, but he might have been.
I
don't know.
I am your karma for not loving David. You gave birth to David in the form of me. David took the time. Smelly David
He
took
wasn't
the
very
time.
smart. He wasn't very smart. He had to get a lot of help.
Oh, yeah, that checks out too.
No, that's not true.
Smelly, charismatic, but troublesome David wrote a handwritten letter and professed his love to you, and you did not respond in kind.
It felt to me like it was a marriage proposal. I was in third grade.
I'm sure back then it would have been okay. Barbara would have been happy. Knowing what we know about Barbara, she would have married you off then and then.
My mom made me explain why I didn't like David, which I did. And I think my mom was okay. Like, she was with me. And then I think, like I said, there was something about, like, maybe it wasn't in an envelope. Maybe he had just folded it up or something, because I felt like other people would know. Like, that's what I was worried about, that somebody else had read the letter from David that said, I love you.
Got it.
And I literally made myself sick, I'm sure. Finally went back to school, was nervous as heck. And my mom made me write a thank you note to each of the kids for their letters, which was, what am I going to say to David? Thank you for loving me. I love
you too, David.
Did not say that.
I don't understand what love is, but I can tell you it's all for you, big guy.
Did not say that. And then I remember going back to school, and we had the teacher, it was a new series of spelling lists. And she said, this one's going to be harder. So if you have some trouble, raise your hand. Well, what she started doing was taking the good spellers, which was a great idea, and have the good spellers help the bad spellers.
Oh, you had to help out old Dum Dum David, huh?
Had to help Dum Dum David. I was dying walking over to his desk like, what? I mean, it's just afraid, like, what's he going to do? What's he going to say? If he says something to me, I'm going to die. And he didn't. I just helped him with his spelling, and we both act like he never said I loved you.
Yeah, because it was third grade. He probably already forgot.
He probably already forgot, but...
Here's a message to David, because I know he listens. David, I want to apologize on behalf of my mother for the unrequited love. Clearly, you put a lot of heart and effort into that letter, and my mother was too busy kissing other boys and getting mono to worry about your feelings. And so for all of us at the Zener family, I apologize to you. You deserved better, and I hope you and your millions and your massive yacht and your multiple homes scattered throughout France are doing well.
France, you said?
Yeah, because David's a man of mystery, international. He is everything that the world never thought he could be. And for that, David, I apologize.
Well, that was a nice tribute. You would think that your mother would get a tribute like that, but...
I called you the human embodiment of roses, which this story actually personifies. You can be very nice and pretty to look at, but if you're David, your lack of emotion draws blood.
No, there was a lot of emotion, Kevin. A lot of emotion.
Yeah, a lot of hate towards him.
Fear, anxiety, horrified. Is horrified an emotion?
I like that this podcast has allowed me to see so much dead love in your wake of just men who pined for you, and it was just met with a cold, calculated stare of disapproval.
That's not true. That is that is not true. The truth is, I was just scared of everybody. Like Kevin.
That's going to be my excuse too. Hey, every relationship that didn't happen, I was just scared.
But here's the other part is, even if I didn't like somebody, I was nice.
I mean, did you write David that letter?
Oh, I wrote David the letter.
Okay.
But I didn't say I love you.
That's not very nice.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say I love you to anybody because I was in third grade.
Speaking of things that I love magical quests for unicorns.
That was a great segue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like that you came up with this topic again a second before I pushed record on everything and then debated whether or not you should actually use this topic. I think the title fits well with the scope of Valentine's Day. I literally don't have any framework of what this means. So I, like the listeners, am super excited about what it means to chase the elusive unicorn. I don't think it's a drug thing. I think it's a business thing.
Is there a unicorn drug thing?
It's like if I told you in the 70s, hey man, we're going to go to this club and chase the elusive unicorn, people would be like, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
You don't know it is. You're just saying that terminology sounds like
in
that.
my brain, that checks out.
Oh, okay. Because I was there in the 70s and I don't remember anybody saying that.
Well, they probably did, but
I wasn't that girl.
You were too busy chasing that unicorn.
You're so terrible. Okay, so I've been helping people hire a lot of people lately.
Oh, cool.
And the thing that I have been enjoying is that most people are so desperate, like, if a key employee leaves, they're so desperate to find the other person, the new person, if you will, and they just lower their bar. I mean, just lower.
They just want the warm body.
They just want somebody in there, and they will never admit that. Do you know what I mean? But that's exactly what they want. And so what ended up happening is I've had a couple of people recently that said, I am not going to settle. If we go through, I'll go through the process over and over and over again until I get the right person. Like if they're not the right person, we're not going to do it. I love that when somebody says that because I believe the right person is out there. But I kind of believe it's sort of like, I'm going to say, taking a net and dipping into a fish tank, right? I mean, if you go to the pet store and you're going to get goldfish, they all look the same, right? But if you go one week and you go another week, there's different fish in there. Some are out because someone else took them and new ones have been, put in.
Yep.
And that's the same with the job pool. I mean, that's exactly what happens. So if at your first dip into the proverbial job pool, you don't get the candidates you want. What you have to say is, let me take a break, and a break might be a week or two, which I know is painful when you're looking for an employee, but keep looking for, and I'm going to say the elusive unicorn.
The old adage that we've talked about before, slow to hire, quick to fire.
Exactly. So unicorns, if we're going to talk about it in the workplace, I think they're extremely rare. I think they're extremely valuable, just like we would think of a real unicorn. And I think what they do in the workplace is they shatter expectations. They kind of raise the bar for everybody. They're simply a joy to be around. And when you take like those three qualities, right, it's like heaven. I mean,
I like that you said just like real unicorns.
Yeah, just like real unicorns.
Because all those unicorns that exist in the world.
Oh, yeah. We do kind of act like they exist, don't we? Wait,
like that you're still struggling with the concept that unicorns are in fact not real.
Aren't unicorns real?
Nope, they're called rhinos.
Okay, so unicorn employees can literally take your business to another level. I mean, and it is kind of like a unicorn.
Sure.
Magical.
But these people do exist.
These people are real.
Got it.
So are the unicorns.
Okay.
So I have 5 key qualities of unicorns.
Okay.
So number 1, if you have these people, I would want you to recognize it, right? I mean, that's the reason for this. And the other part I would say is I'm trying to, with all my might, raise your bar up and have you be looking for these kinds of people.
You want people to be better than they want for themselves. You want their expectations to be greater than the expectations that they have for themselves as business owners. You don't want a donkey. You want a unicorn.
I want a unicorn. So the first thing is they are not limited by, I'm going to say, their job title and their job duties, right?
Okay.
So they do their job. They do it well. They know what's the scope of their responsibility.
Yep.
They have great enthusiasm for it, but they will also roll up their sleeves, and I want to say in both directions. So if there were somebody, I'm going to say, above them on the proverbial ladder, right? If there's something that they can do to help that person, or let's say help the marketing team or whatever, they would roll their sleeves up and say, hey, do you want to give me part of that? I can help with that. Give it here. And they would offer to do it.
Yep.
Likewise, and this is always my terrible example, but if the toilet needed cleaning, they wouldn't be consider themselves too above the fray to be able to get that done as well.
Not too proud to clean a toilet. Not
too proud to do whatever needs to be done to keep the team moving forward, right?
Got it. Yep.
So that's number 1. They jump in for opportunities, they dive deeper, and they look at growing areas of the business and they try to help, right? But not ever shirking their own responsibilities first.
Okay.
They think big and they think small. So most of them are strategic thinkers. So they get what I'd say, what corporate or home office or, what leadership is trying to do. They understand that and they apply it to their own job, right? At the same time, so they get the vision, if you will. Do you know what I mean? And they can embrace that to the work that they do. Except they also know that the devil's in the details, right? And so both of those things, they work with them simultaneously. So they're not just idea folks that buy on to this great, I'm going to say, campaign we just started, right? It's not just that. It's that, and then how do we execute it? How do we get it done? And can I help do that, even if it's not in my responsibility of my area, right? So Angela Duckworth is a psychologist who, I think she has the #1 TED Talk, or it was the #1 for a while, and she talked about grit, and she has a book on grit. I mean, she's kind of the one that brought the word grit to the marketplace, and she defines it as perseverance and passion for long-term goals. And she says it's critical for achieving long-term success. So I think all of the unicorns would have grit, meaning like they see the light at the end of the tunnel. They see that place that we're trying to go. At the same time, they don't forget the here and now, where we are, and all the steps we need to get there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they can hunker down. And when the load gets heavy, they can bear more. Do you know what I mean? They know that sometimes it's rough waters. I mean, if we were to use, I love using a ship all the time as businesses are ships. And if we're in rough seas, if we're in stormy weather, sometimes it feels like you're working 24/7 to get something done. These people, these unicorns, have grit and they know how to do that. And they can usually do it pretty much with a positive spirit. They don't let it, they know, like, I'll sleep next Wednesday, that kind of thing. They can get there.
A unicorn doubling as a pack mule. I dig it. I like
Well,
all of these analogies and metaphors.
They just stay calm and focused. I mean, they don't get hysterical.
Yep.
Right? I think they are respectful and likable by nature. So their ability to work well with others, which is like, a kindergarten 101 thing, right? I mean, can you work well with others? It's a skill that they seem to have perfected. It seems to apply to everybody. I think they are respectful by nature. They don't treat people badly, regardless of title. I don't think that they are... I don't even think like it's negative innuendos or gossip. Do you know what I mean? I just think that they would see that as detrimental to the workplace. And so they retain their likability so that, people will feel that way about them. But at the same time, their actions are very respectful to others.
Got it.
And then I have a category where I call they get it done. So the CEO of LinkedIn a few years back sent a short status thing. It was a thing that he sent out to all of his employees. And he said, in the simplest terms possible, the people I most enjoy working with dream big, get stuff done, and know how to have fun. And I think that that's kind of a unicorn thing, right? Especially the get stuff done. And I think, there's parts of every job in the world that people hate. I mean, there isn't, when people talk about their passion and everything, it doesn't matter. There's pieces of the job you hate.
Of course.
You might be an artist and you love doing your art, but if you're going to make money, you have to sell it. You might hate selling it, right? I mean, talking about how much money that is worth and then actually having to put a value on it, right? You might hate doing taxes. You might hate doing expenses. There's something about every job that we don't like, but knowing that, we still have to get stuff done.
Sure.
And I think that he, when he said that, it's like a perfect thing because that can never be just one person, right? So unicorn type people, they've been kind of measured and tested and all of that. And basically unicorn types, they say they get 10 times as much done as the average employee in America. Microsoft did a test, and they claim they get 100 times more done than the average worker in America. So if you think about this perfect employee you want, the other thing you have to think about is really, what are you willing to pay for that? Because everybody that doesn't have a unicorn, that has a donkey, if you will, do you know what I mean?
A lot of donkeys.
A lot of donkeys. And if I were to say, well, would you pay $5 or $10 or $15 more an hour? I mean, whatever, do you know what I mean? For a unicorn, because the other part about a unicorn, you may have to train them, but you probably won't have to manage them. I mean,
sure.
In terms of really manage them,
yeah.
Right? And you certainly won't have to micromanage them.
No.
But here's the thing, just like unicorns, they're not on every street corner, right? I mean, you have to look for them. Again, I'm still believing that unicorns are real.
Correct.
And so here's the thing. Why do I love it when somebody says they won't settle? I love it because it means they're going to do the work and they're going to get the stuff done to find the right person. And all the things that I've just listed, you have to do all of those things to find that person. So, I mean, you have to show grit, you have to show tenaciousness, you have to be respectful, you have to be likable, and you just have to hang in there and get it done until the right person shows up. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. And when this happens, I've had people say to me, the money doesn't matter. I mean, the money really doesn't matter. That there's such a difference in having this kind of employee, and it's such a pleasure coming to work and being able to work with them that all the other things just aren't issues for you. Those things are issues when those things aren't getting done.
Yeah, that makes sense to me that you're not going to pay the person 10 times what they're worth as a unicorn, but you certainly don't feel bad about any money going out because you see it coming back tenfold in theory with the work that they're providing.
But if you did say, for instance, that a job, let's just say that a salary range was 20 to $30 an hour, okay? $20 to $30 an hour was the salary range. And you really wanted to be at the 20. And part of the reason you really wanted to be at that and you didn't really understand it was because you'd only had $20 an hour people, right? I mean, that's all you'd ever worked with. If you get this unicorn type person we're talking about, you're going to be happy to pay closer to the $30 an hour.
Sure.
I mean, It makes all the difference in the world.
Because it's like you got 1.5 people there anyways.
10 times or 100 times, Kev?
True. Sorry. Microsoft.
Kev.
You have 100 extra people there.
It's a unicorn.
This is very Dungeons and Dragons-esque. I won't nerd out on you, but I don't know that even unicorns exist in the D&D world. Pretty sure they don't exist here in a literal way, but as employees, very real.
But haven't you pictured a unicorn while I've been talking?
Yeah, Deb, of course, you've said unicorn 10,000 times. All I'm thinking about is unicorns right now.
Good. That's how I want it to be.
Thinking about those unicorn cakes that look so delicious, I never want to actually eat them, but that's where I'm at.
But here's the question. Could we insert a unicorn into Dungeons & Dragons?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
It's a world limited only by your own creativity.
Then the next time I play, I want a unicorn.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. You're going to have to pay extra.
Okay.
As you would for unicorns in the professional world.
Yes.
Put a bow on it.
Don't settle. Look for that person. Look for that person that is fun to be around, that brings joy to the workplace, that can get stuff done, and that is a pleasure for your business.
I love it. I love it. I love unicorns. I love that my mother, who's one of the smartest people in the world, thinks that unicorns are real in a literal sense. I love all of it. And I love the idea that if you thoroughly want your business to be successful and that you want to stay above the fray, that you take your time to hire, that you take your time to find the right people that fit with your brand, that fit with your culture, that you're willing and able to collaborate with, and not settle for anything else. You have to want that for your business, and then other people will want it for your business too.
And other people will be attracted to come to your business for that.
You're going to have a whole stable of freaking unicorns.
Oh my God, would that be heaven?
Somebody get back to us and tell us how many times we said unicorn. Just give me, an approximate number of how many times we said unicorn, because it's got to be over 100. And I love that for us on Valentine's Day.
Oh, it is nice.
Okay, Deb, I'm going to give you a choice.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to do a segment of Would You Rather, where I give you 2 options.
Yes.
You can ask as many questions as you want, but then
Okay.
ultimately you have to pick one of them. We can do a normal round of Would You Rather, which I think is very funny, or we can do a topical round of Would You Rather surrounding the idea of Valentine's Day. Your choice. Not often that I give you a choice on this podcast, but I'm leaving it up to you.
Well, if I don't pick Valentine's Day, those just die.
We'll just have to wait 365 days.
Let's do the Valentine's Day ones.
Okie doke. Your first question of Would You Rather. When you have a little Twitter-pated heart, you get excited in a romantic way. Would you rather your skin turn bright red or have your heart beat loud enough for everyone in the room to hear it, thus thinking you're on the precipice of having a heart attack?
I was going to say at this age,
I can't do a red face. I don't like it. I can literally feel my face getting hot. Then I become self-conscious. And then I want to be anywhere but where I am right in that moment. So
the blushing and the embarrassed blushing kind
yeah.
of thing.
So if anything, I'd be like, wow, somebody's playing that bass really loud with the boom, 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 right? That's what I mean, if you're asking me, I'd do the heartbeat thing. Plus
I walk into a cocktail party.
Okay.
And there's this gorgeous looking man.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Going in a different direction. I like it, though.
And he comes up to me and says, I'm David.
Hey, David, don't I know you from Mrs. Dahlbottom's third grade class?
I'm David. I see you don't have a drink. Can I get you something?
Yeah.
And I think, oh my gosh, what a gentleman.
Yeah.
My choice right then is for my face to turn pure red.
Bright fire engine red.
Or for my heart to beat out of my chest.
Loud enough to where old Davy boy can hear it.
Gotta go with the heart.
Gotta go with the heart.
Gotta go with the heart.
Because you can spin zone that in the most romantic way possible. If you turn in to some, sun-skin fried lobster woman, David ain't coming back with that drink.
Yeah, and here's what happens too. If you do have, for a woman, if you have like even just a V-neck, it'll go all the way down your chest. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
Here's to be even worse if it stopped at your chin.
That would be
So it just looks like someone slapped too much rouge on your face.
Terrible. Yeah. I think we could play off the heartbeat thing.
I think the heartbeat thing, you could also just say, hey, it's a genetic disorder.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to fall over. It's all good, David.
I've cracked ribs before, but
Exactly.
but know that this is a direct effect of you being in my weight, you being in my atmosphere.
Yeah, this is what happens when joy has overtaken me.
Love it. Okay, so we're going to stick with this theme of a cocktail party, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather go to a Valentine's Day cocktail party with really good food and drink, but nothing else to do, meaning there's no music?
Oh.
Or go to a Valentine's Day cocktail party with no food, no drink, but a lot of fun stuff to do? And you can insert the fun stuff in your own brain, what would be fun to you. But it's an either or. It's a, would you rather have the food and drink with nothing else, or get rid of the food and drink and have a lot of stuff to do?
So we all get together and play Twister? I mean, what do we do?
Well, Deb, yeah, because it's only limited by what you want to do right now.
So we sit around and play board games or charades or...
But I also like to think that you're dressed up like you're going to a cocktail party.
And yet there is no cocktail.
There's maybe mocktails, no booze in them.
Okay.
But there's certainly no food.
Mm.
Maybe a pretzel. No, there's no food. There is no food. Pretzel would be too good for this. There's no food, mocktails, stuff to do.
I'm going to go with the food and the cocktails and say that we are going to have the best conversations of our life at that party.
You better, because there's literally nothing else to do. There
If
is no music to drown out the conversations.
Yeah, no music is bad.
And I'm going to say it's only like 25 people.
Oh, no.
So you can hear it. 25 people in an auditorium.
Yeah. Would that be horrible?
No
music. I think you have to go to the music. Is there music on the other one?
When you and I go to the coffee shop,
yeah,
and the music just stops playing, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's not like we go there much anymore, but the music just always stops playing. I feel the most self-conscious ever in my entire life, because then it just turns into an echo chamber, and I think everybody within 10 feet of me can hear.
Yeah. So there is music. We're going to just say there's punch.
Juice. Just juice.
But no alcohol.
No.
And
it might be a variety of juices, but it's still ultimately juice.
Okay. But there is music.
Of course, there are things to do. Dancing would be encouraged.
Okay. I'm going to go with that.
I think that's the right play.
Yeah.
As foodies and people that enjoy a good cocktail, I don't know that can hold up an entire evening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need stuff to
no
do.
Music is just bad.
Yeah. And there's a piece of me that says, like, just have a cocktail before you go. Would you rather receive 100 roses or receive 100 pieces of the finest chocolate? I know what I would choose.
100 roses is a lot.
It's a lot.
I'm going for the roses.
Same.
Yeah.
I think, I know what 24 roses looks like.
Yeah.
And that's a lot.
Yeah.
4 times that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Plus, in this world of social media and one-upsmanship about who loves who the most, you're telling me somebody bought me 100 roses?
Exactly.
Sold. I'm going to take pics of that, videos of that, and I'm going to make everybody else feel bad about themselves that whoever loves them doesn't really, because they didn't give them 100 roses.
100 roses is pretty cool.
Like, especially 100 long stem roses.
Yeah. I'm going with the roses.
I agree. I don't care how fine the chocolate is, because here's the thing. I've had really high-end chocolate before. I don't know that I care about it.
I don't know. I mean, I like chocolate, but I don't know that I care about super, super expensive chocolate.
Like, I like Lindt chocolate.
But Lindt is good chocolate.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you consider that high-end?
But you can get it at the grocery store.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Most times people like to tell you the cacao percentage or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The more it is that, the less I want it.
You want it with a lot of sugar.
Give me the milk
chocolate.
chocolate. Give me a Hershey's bar. The roses for me isn't.
Yeah, the roses would be
Total winner.
would be the huge impact.
I agree with you. I think this is one I took from like an elementary school website, but I think it applies. Would you rather have to always write with a red pen or pencil? Okay, so it's always red.
Mm-hmm.
Or for the rest of your life, have to dot all of your I's and J's with hearts?
Red pencil for sure.
Doesn't that, like, I feel when I see red pencil, like I get little Kev anxious. Because red pencil is what teachers use to tell you you're bad at school.
Okay, so little known fact.
Mm-hmm.
I might be a little, because you said for the rest of your life.
True. Both options.
I'm a little judgy about grown-ups that dot things with the heart.
Now, this is to be said that you still have access to a computer. This is only when you write.
Right. No, I'm going red pencil. I mean, can you
I think
imagine
you're
writing
right.
a business letter and dotting all the I's with a heart?
I can't imagine writing.
Well, I mean, yeah, no.
It would be fun, though, if you left notes for your friends. Like me, Kevin, who left notes for my friends. If I was just like, hey, saw your car here, have a good day. And it has like a little heart over everything.
Over every eye.
Hey, saw your car here,
Kevin.
hope you have a good day. There's no I's in there. Oh, scot-free.
But Kevin.
I just say KZ. KZ. Yeah, the I's and J's, because there's somebody out there right now who's thinking like, oh, I do that already anyways.
Yeah.
Deb doesn't like you.
Well, it's like a 7th grade thing.
Yeah, it's a weird decision to make for yourself that you're going to be the person that puts smiley faces or hearts over your I's and lowercase J's.
I'm going to go get a good red pen, and that's what it's going to be.
But seriously, that red pen thing does give me like the cold sweats.
Oh, because you think you're getting bad grades.
Yes, like when if somebody was just to hand me like 3 handwritten pages, that's psycho to begin with in 2021. But then if it's pure red, I'm assuming they're just in the closet waiting for me to come home to murder me. But I understand where you're coming from. Okay. Give up chocolate for 6 months.
Yeah.
Or eat a piece of chocolate at every meal for 6 months.
Oh, that's hard.
This might honestly be the hardest one.
That is really hard.
Because I could eat a piece of chocolate every day. I have a box of Cadbury eggs upstairs. I just bought them on a whim because I'm a psychopath. So there's 48 Cadbury Easter eggs.
What? Where did you
Well, I
buy
bought them for D&D off of Amazon.
Oh, okay.
And then everybody only had one, so I was left with 42 Cadbury eggs, which I will
keep those upstairs.
I will again bring them back for D&D. But I have had to consciously stop myself from devouring them morning, noon, and night. So I know that I would happily eat a piece of chocolate every day. My self-worth would be nothing at the end of 6 months.
I think I could eat a piece of chocolate after, if we're just talking about piece.
No, I mean like the fun-size Snickers bars.
Yep, I could eat one after every meal, for sure. I'm capable.
Sure.
But I feel like after 6 months, wouldn't that be an addiction?
So if we just say every meal, 3 meals a day, okay?
Yeah.
180 days makes up 6 months. If I'm doing math, that is 540 pieces of chocolate. I mean, does this come with an insulin needle?
It wouldn't be that, but you know what would happen is after every meal you have gotten so used to popping that chocolate
Sure.
that then the day comes.
Like that.
How will you ever quit?
It's like the Super Size Me documentary where the guy just, his body got so excited for McDonald's, he would eat it. And then emotionally after he ate it, he would just crash.
Yeah, it was the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would rather be without.
Man, that would suck.
I would rather be without. It's only 6 months.
Yeah, you say that. Could you imagine that right now? Could you imagine right now in this world that we live in, if you just like cut off something that provided you joy?
Well, Kevin, they didn't say you can't have taffy.
I know, but chocolate is chocolate.
I know, but I would be addicted for the rest of my life.
And it's any chocolate. Like you can't have chocolate in anything. Like you couldn't have the chocolate chips in those runner's muffins that we make, those superhero muffins.
I guess we couldn't have them then. No. I would do without, because I know myself well enough that for the rest of my life, I would have a piece of chocolate after every meal.
Here's what you do. You go 6 months without it. And then you eat chocolate
and then you have
every meal
chocolate.
for 6 months. After every meal for 6 months.
What if you just randomly have a piece of chocolate when you want it?
You can't do that in this scenario,
Stop
Deb.
I'm not going to have the chocolate.
It lives on the extremes.
I'm not going to have the chocolate.
That's fair. I mean, it's super duper sad. And it's a super
sad.
adult decision to
And
say.
especially if you thought about it, if the 6 months covered, Christmas,
Oh, the holiday
Valentine's
season?
Day
Oh
and
my gosh.
Easter. Oh my gosh, it'd be awful.
So yeah, here's the new one. It encompasses Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, and Easter.
Yeah,
You'd still give it up?
still give it up.
Yeah, you'd probably feel better about yourself.
Yeah,
after the
still give it
holidays.
up. I'm not saying I would be sad, but I'd
Super,
give it up. Yeah.
so freaking sad.
Yeah,
The amount of candy canes I would eat.
but you could establish a good addiction in that period of time.
I love a good addiction. Okay, that was Would You Rather Valentine's Day edition.
Okay,
I
good
think
job.
I think that was great. I think it was very well thought out. I think it was very practical, and I think we came to some good decisions.
Did you agree with me?
The 100 roses is a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
A total no-brainer to me. 100 roses, no chocolate for 6 months. Please don't put hearts above your eyes in lowercase j's.
Yeah, don't do it.
Deborah, as we start to wind down, what do you think is for dinner? Because I have an idea of what's for dinner. Because you've shared this one thing that was going around Instagram like crazy.
So has everybody seen the thing on Instagram?
Now listen, wait for them to respond. Ask your question.
Has everyone seen the thing on Instagram?
Wait. Okay.
Okay. And so they put olive oil in a pan, quite a bit. Then they throw in I threw in onions and garlic. And then they throw in whole cherry tomatoes. And then they throw in a block of feta. And they just let it all sizzle. And then pretty soon you mush it all together.
Just kind of cooks down and macerates a little bit.
The tomatoes macerate. The feta just turns into like cream, within the olive oil. Then you cook your favorite pasta and you slice up some basil. I put a little bit of like spaghetti seasoning in it. Do you know what I mean? Just for a little something, something. And so when I saw it on Instagram, it's only the pasta. That's all they're doing is then they take your cooked pasta and you mix it all together. But we're going to do that. And then we're going to grill. We have some fresh salmon from our friend Bailey, who has just recently moved to Kansas City.
It's the freshest Kansas City salmon known to man.
No, it's from Oregon.
Oh, okay.
She went from Oregon to Kansas City. And so we're having that salmon. So we're going to grill some salmon and put it on top. But you could eat just the pasta, or you could grill chicken or salmon or something like that, and put it with it. But it looks delicious.
Thank you, Instagram, for providing us with inspiration. Actually,
Yes.
really just providing Deb. Deb is getting all of her meals currently from social media.
Or it's just leftovers. I'm telling you, that's the story of our lives right now.
It's a lot of leftovers.
either
I love leftovers.
Yeah, it's either
know-
Instagram inspiration.
Do you
or
know why I love
leftovers.
leftovers?
Why?
Because I don't have to think about making anything.
I know.
That's why I love leftovers. Okay, Deb, what are you thankful for this week?
Oh gosh, this was a good week. Well, I'm thankful. I want to say this while it's happening. Dad had his second chemo this week, and it went really well.
Yep. He did not go golfing 2 days after
Yes.
and think he was on death's door. He instead was a good patient and just existed.
Yep. And so that part was really, that was great. Right. And then, and he's, seems fine. I mean, he's fine.
He's tired, but
he's tired. Right.
he's literally getting out of bed. And last time he couldn't.
Exactly. And then the other thing that I'm grateful for is we live in Northern Nevada. It's super, super dry here. Our humidity is normally like 6%. Most of our precipitation we get is the winter through snow.
Yep.
But we've had kind of a rainy week. The other night, the wind was blowing, the rain was coming down. It's raining today off and on. So I love a rainy day because we just don't get it that often.
Yeah. The only disappointing part was it was raining at like 1 o'clock in the morning, between like 11 and 1 o'clock in the morning.
And it was coming down.
It was pouring sheets of rain. Those are good. Dad's healthy, rain. I'm thankful because 2 of my friends got engaged this week over in Utah. Nick and Bridget, they're not from there. They're from New Orleans, but they took a vacation there and he surprised her. And It went exceptionally well. The photos look super picturesque. They were like knee deep in snow, and they had a guide take them out in some wilderness setting, and he proposed to her there. And the guy looks like he's straight out of Game of Thrones with his big red beard. And he texted me last night, and he was super, super duper excited, and I am super duper excited for them.
Well, congratulations, Nick and Bridget.
Plus, it gives me something to look forward to, probably in 2022, but there's not much to look forward to in 2021, so I'm taking anything that I can get. So their love and their ability to spend the rest of their lives with each other is going to benefit me in that I have a bachelor party to look forward to, God willing, and a wedding to look forward to, God willing.
And they will remember it, not just for the obvious, because it was on Valentine's weekend.
That's true. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I should have thought about that. Man, all of this stuff really worked well for us for this Valentine's Day thing. My friends got engaged, and in no way did I even correlate that to Valentine's Day.
Well, here we go. We did it.
Anything else, Deborah?
No, it was a good Valentine's podcast. I'm glad we waited until today.
It was a good Valentine's Day podcast. We have no other podcast to relate it to, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the best.
It's a unicorn podcast.
Whoa, that's a good recall. And now add that to the list of the amount of times we said unicorns. That's going to do it for us this week. Remember to like, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast. You can follow us on all of our social media channels, and you can watch us on our YouTube channel. Mom, I love you so much.
I love you, honey.
And I love you too, Grandma Barbara.
Oh.
Guys, we'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you for listening to the Deb and Kev podcast. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Follow Deb and Kev on Facebook and on Instagram and Twitter @DebandKevPod.